Good morning. I was given 3 minutes for this presentation, and I'm at an age where time is going faster and faster, so I'll do the best I can. When I retired from a very busy medical practice of 52 years in downtown Allentown and proximity of downtown Allentown, I was looking for something to do with my newfound time, and I attended some social action committee meetings, and it was found that the discussion about inequity in the society for racial reasons, and particularly the inequity in healthcare, of which I was aware, but what was discussing it became even more striking. A African-American baby born in 2020 has a life expectancy of 5 to 7 years less than a white baby in the Lehigh Valley, in the same socioeconomic community. There's over 20% higher incidence in the Black community of stroke, cancer, premature birth, complications of pregnancy, even death, and prostate cancer, and so on. And you ask why this occurs. Well, it's multifactorial, and the biggest reason that something could be done about is preventive care. There's a basic distrust in the minority communities, particularly African American, with the healthcare system. And this is based on a history of egregious mistreatment and lack of respect, and based largely on the indolent racism in this country. And without going into particulars, there's every reason for them to be suspicious. So when they get sick, the tendency is to go to the emergency room for acute care, and when the acute problems have subsided, not to bother with preventive care. So I joined the NAACP, and they were happy to see me, and we soon became a vice president in charge of inequity of healthcare. And the question is, what can be done about it? And for one thing, the health centers, that is Lehigh Valley Health Network and St. Luke's Network, is aware of the problem, and it has active education seminars for their staff to make them sensitive to the issues of inequity and insensitivity to minority people. And this, I think, has borne some fruit. There's also establishment of what's called health homes, or federally qualified health centers around the Lehigh Valley. There's about 5 of these where people, regardless of their ability to pay, can come and have a home where they see the same doctor every time and get colonoscopies when necessary, health checkups, mammographies, blood pressure checks, etc. And this is preventive care. This was with the issues of COVID and vaccination, the minority communities were far below the white communities as far as participation. And the hesitancy was based on the lack of trust. Education in that area included seminars that we arranged and going out to the neighborhoods and trying to talk to people and publicizing. And the rate came up to 85%, which isn't much different than the general population. There's a lot more to do, and one of my major hopes is that there'll be an opportunity center with the extra money that's been presented to the local community, where the youth can be aware and that there are opportunities in healthcare that are available to them, anywhere from going to medical school to nursing school, etc. And that's over a long term, because right now only 5% of medical students are African American, where there's 13% of the population is African American. So there has to be some long-term features to where people can talk to people that look like them.
That's not going to work. My passion is music. For those of you who haven't seen my shirt, these are difficult times. And these are difficult times. I grew up in a house surrounded by music. My mom and my sister both had degrees. My dad sight read, and as a young child, I could swear that 80% of our living room was always taken up by a baby grand piano. Music offers different styles that anyone can grab onto, anything from barbershop to bluegrass, from country to contra. And it offers many outlets. You can participate in music. Maybe you can't sing. Well, learn to play an instrument, or just go somewhere and listen. Music touches your soul. I needed something to do when my first marriage broke up. Something for me. So I wandered into the local barbershop chapter, Barbershop Harmony, And I've been singing barbershop for 42 years. Many, many quartets, couple of choruses, one of them down outside of Trenton, New Jersey, which I've recently given up and come back to sing with the Beacons. And I'm so grateful for Larry letting me back in. I met my darling Gail through music. We bonded ever since we laid eyes on each other. And for those of you who don't know, she was a pro. She worked her way through grad school, singing nightclubs in Connecticut. And we were part of a mixed quartet that was the hit of the Lehigh Valley nursing home circuit. One summer, Gail and I were on vacation down in Florida, and we stumbled on a bar that was having a karaoke contest. And I'm not a solo singer. She was a solo singer. So she entered the contest. It turned out that we happened to be there the night they were having both the 10th and final qualifying round and the finals. Well, the first round she sang Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit. Ha! One pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. As soon as she was done, the place erupted. Okay, well, she won that round. She's going into the finals. And she sang Sarah McLachlan, In the Arms of the Angel. And I looked around when she was done, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Or mine, for that matter. Well, the music was totally different, but it evoked totally different responses from people. And you could hear a pin drop. Well, okay, she won the contest. Spoiler alert. And first prize was, I forget how much, time in a recording studio. So we came back, we got Sue and Lou and said, all right, all four of us are going back to Florida next summer. And we did, and we cut our first CD. And we later cut a second CD so I can hear my darling anytime I want. So the takeaway from this is that when you are having difficult times, open your heart. Open your soul. Go listen to a rousing Beethoven symphony. Sit and listen quietly when Larry plays a simple hymn on a Sunday morning. Turn on your radio when you're driving. Play your instrument. Sing. Sing like nobody's listening, even if you can't sing. Watch it on TV. Go to concerts. When you're having difficult times, open your heart, open your soul, and let the music in.
In these next 3 minutes for Soapbox Sunday, I'd like to share what I'm currently finding meaningful. I'm calling this talk Finding Meaning in the Unfolding, Journeying Back to the Heart. To start, I need to briefly go back to the beginning of my life. I came into this world curious, exuberant, alive, dancing, as a little girl dancing in my dining and living rooms, outside, in the rain. I'd climb trees, spend hours in nature, making friends with bugs and trees. I expressed my joy and connection to life in the ways I knew how, until eventually I didn't. The inner joy that I knew as a little girl became buried under expectations, family drama, unconscious patterns seeping in, repeating themselves from generations of abuse, disconnect, and pain, infiltrating my heart and mind. It wasn't until my 20s, when I reflected, I had been living in fight or flight mode, with high social anxiety and in constant fear. Am I allowed to be here? What if I mess up? Waking up angry, feeling unfulfilled, this was a significant contrast from my younger years. I could feel and know within my core that I had built a strong brick wall around my heart. There is a Sioux legend that goes like this: the longest journey you will make in your life is from your head to your heart. And what a journey it has been and continues to be. Starting 7 years ago, I've seen therapists, energy healers, looking for answers in meditation teachers, bought courses to help me invent a 2.0 version of myself. I began learning what the word grace meant, learned words like ego and non-attachment. I practiced gratitude journaling, began to feel what it was like to sit each day for 30 minutes at a time in silence. I learned about neuroscience from Dr. Joe Dispenza, trauma from Peter Levine and Gabor Mate, psychology and healing from books by Dr. Nicole Lapira, wisdom from spiritual teachers by Ram Dass, Tara Brach, and Eckhart Tolle. I pushed myself to do cold therapy. For me, that was cold showers for 2 years with the Wim Hof method. I discovered that I was a recovering perfectionist due to a heavy amount of shame in reading books by Brené Brown. I kept looking for answers outside myself. What fascinates me at this stage is the incredible power of the subconscious mind. In the theta brain state, we can more easily tap into our beliefs that hold us back. I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, and we can be there for our past versions of ourselves and find the learnings that we might have missed along the way. We can substitute a new helpful set of beliefs. While I no longer take cold showers, I still practice daily meditation, and hypnotherapy has been profoundly important in gaining access to, unfolding, and trusting the opening of my heart. Eventually, and what I'm discovering, is that I hold my own inner wisdom. We all do. Everyone's journey looks different. Life and all parts of it, even the times that feel hard, uncomfortable, and painful, it's all helping us to unfold. Turns out finding my way back to connecting and open-heartedness, it wasn't external, it was all internal. I'm still working on it, taking this long journey from my head to my heart. This process is where I find meaning.
Please now join me, rise as you're willing and able, and sing hymn number 8, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. Father Spirit, where are you? In the skies and in the forest is your cry. What to give you, what to call you, what am I? Many drops are in the ocean deep and wide. Some advances of the ripples to the sky. What to give you, what to call you, who am I? Only my voice roaming, what is time? Dreams eternal, peace and farewell of my heart. What to give you, what to call you, oh my God. Father Spirit, Father Spirit, take our hearts, take our breath and let our voices sing our parts. Take our hearts and let us roar to shape our hearts. We have 2 more presenters to go, and it looks like the service is going to run maybe 5 minutes over. I have to beg your indulgence and hang around an extra 5 minutes. Okay? Yes. Our last 2 presenters are Karen Berry. She's going to talk about, she says, I feel a little green. And then she wore green today. And we're going to finish up with a presentation called Love Binds Us by Anthony Casillo. And then we're going to have, the final stuff.
Yeah, I chose that sort of an entrance kind of thing to relate with everybody in terms of their environmental interests. I believe most of us in this room fit into the category of feeling green or environmentally protective. Most of us would probably agree that the gaseous emissions, the heat generating activities, and the waste and the pollution we generate around the clock are in the long term not good for our environment. We just don't know of what to do personally that is productive. So are we all just a little bit green, even if we can't do anything substantial to change the course of warming? Most of us turn to organizations, and there are many organizations that have taken up environmental banners. The top ones, according to one assessment, are Greenpeace, the Union of Concerned Scientists, the World Wildlife Fund, the Natural Resources Defense Council, the Sierra Club, the Wildlife Conservation Society, Oceana, and the National Audubon Society. In fact, in the US, there are about 15,000 environmental organizations. Behind these groups are lots of superstar preservationists who founded these organizations, including 2 women I have personally met, Jane Goodall, famous for saving chimps in Africa, and Birute Galdikas saving orangutans in Indonesia. Meeting 2 of these tremendously influential preservationists doesn't make one green, but it gives a sense of the absolute dedication, commitment, and devotion that these super heroines have. I spent 2 weeks in the jungles of Indonesia with 12 other travelers as we learned from Birute Galdikas about orangutan life while slugging through swampy tropical jungle. I could not see the sky overhead because of the tropical overgrowth, but our group was straining our eyes upward to spot orangutans in the trees for Dr. Goldikas's daily orangutan count. At the same time, we were fending off leeches. Yes, that was a green experience. But before such an experience, what is it that makes you interested in nature from the get-go? Where you live, who you know, what you study? I think for me, it was where we were living when I was little, in a semi-rural area with a cornfield behind the house and vacant adjacent property. We had fields where we roamed and picked wild asparagus, which we collected and brought home for dinner. Not far away, my brothers and I found some old bamboo poles from a nearby country club. Guess they used the poles to care for the greens. We offloaded the throwaway poles and built a tent by stacking them in the shape of a teepee. Then we wove hay from a local farm field in and out of the poles to create a shelter. It was our hideout. It was nature, and it was our version of green. We all have different avenues to becoming green devotees on the dream road to preserving our environment. I wanted to share mine with you and expect that many of you have similar experiences. And I do wonder if kids today will have experiences leading them to greenery.
Text, yeah, but not.
All righty then. We're going to have to work with the theater of the mind. I'm Anthony Gazzillo, and I want to share with you a thought. But I want you to all take a very deep breath first and bring yourselves into the present. I want us all to be thankful for a moment for our lives and the lives around us. And I want you to take an image, a picture in your head of some beautiful creature while I read you this poem. And I'd like it to be a farm animal. And I'd like you to reflect on the course of its life. I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from love abundant. My help comes from the hills. My help, it comes from the ancient mothers whose hearts bear it in mine. It comes from the trees that sway and the breeze that sways them. My help comes from all that is, that was, and ever will be. I lift my eyes, hushed by the soothing touch of waves, caressing wounded shores, wounded souls. I lift my eyes to the horizon, battled by the hum of mothers and mothers' mothers, cradling, gently rocking. I lift my voice, call of the seed trees, sister moon, Mother Earth, my soul weeping, the symphony of life overflowing. I give myself, I too hum through every pore. With every breath, I give myself an extension of all that is, was, and ever will be. Love Abundant by Alicia Ford. Thank you.